services work currently, it's very much they're built on a model of each of us being kind of passive consumers. So actually we're beginning to understand that public services need to start not with kind of problems and needs, but instead with people and what they can bring. And I think the reason people want to get involved is because they feel they have something to give back. And I think that's something that all public services are going to need to grapple with.
These hugely centralised approaches have got huge dangers, and I think they overlook the fact that people are naturally collaborative and cooperative, and that different versions of the same technologies are now available to everybody, so people can work together in ways that ask a deeper question about the role of government.
In the past, we've needed institutions. These days, we have mechanisms for joining together lots of individuals based on their own self-interest that are now competitive with the power of institutions.
Hierarchies are very inefficient, they're very slow-moving, they concentrate power and information at the top, and they often deny people opportunities to take initiative, to share ideas and to seek solutions themselves, and they often rob people of a sense of agency.
The big shift I think that's going on is the idea that everyone is available for group action. Doesn't mean everyone will participate in group action, it doesn't mean that all participation will be equal, but it does mean that everybody can get involved.
We all own a team called Absolute United. There's about 30,000 of us members online. We'll log in online, make our team decisions, make all the vote proposals. We basically run the club now.
Well, that's gone out of play for an Ebbsfleet throw. I think every stop in play, goal kick, bit of time wasting.
Some people see this as just like a champ manager football game, but it's not, it's real life. Now, big choice. Who's going to play up front? Yeah, big Johnny Kennedy.
Johnny Kennedy tries to challenge. Michael Boswick puts it out of play.
You can turn institutions upside down using the net. You can design systems or institutions from the bottom up and let them self-organise.
I always go with Lance Cronin because he represents England at semi-professional level.
How do you see this half going, Tim?
I want Ebbsfleet to tuck the ball up their jumper and sit down and not let Aldershot get a hold of it. The rain's starting to come down a bit harder now.
We've lived here all our lives. I started going when I was about 8 or 9 with my grandfather, long term.
As soon as you went for it.
I think the way the voting will go, it will select the best available team.
Now, I've got to have Stacey Long on the wing.
Right back, I really usually like to pick Mark Ricketts. He's only just come back from injury.
You know what, he did well last game. I think I might try him there. Let's put Sasha at left back.
In a way, it is less personal, right, to take advice from 30,000 people than from one arrogant person. And if you get it right, taking your cue from 30,000 people actually creates a much better chance that one person isn't going to be making a kind of catastrophic mistake. I'm sure it feels very different in the management suite.
And then we've got at left back Sasha Opinel. He's been brilliant all season.
If you just open yourselves up,
Strikers.
you find that there's all these kind of resources out there.
Kennedy, Michael Bostwick.
He's good with crosses.
And all this kind of expertise out there that could be incredibly valuable to you.
And then he's only 18, along with 1 or 2 other.
Okay. And that is my team. Save. Absolute United, they're playing in the semi-final today of the FA Trophy against Aldershot, and we're 3-1 up from the first.
See you later then. Ta-da. Bye. Should be a good game today, actually, Rick.
Absolutely. It's going for years and years for us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've never been to Wembley before.
In this self-organising model, it can be very low cost and very efficient compared with top-down bureaucratic hierarchy. Just compare open source software in Microsoft. Microsoft spends billions to develop products which are less sophisticated than Linux. Linux is this large open source software writing community. Linux doesn't have a head office, it doesn't have any corporate jets, it doesn't have any away days, it doesn't have any human resources department. It has none of the stuff that large organisations have, and yet it manages to produce something which is reliable and is used by governments all over the world.
Code is out there. I mean, just use it. I mean, it's free. You can submit your own patches if you're a programmer. Maybe you're not a programmer. Maybe just give feedback to developers. Go on forums. Say, "Oh, this software's very good, but maybe I'm not a programmer, but I'd really like to see this feature." A lot of developers are very open to ideas.
So it's starting to get into all sorts of systems people take for granted, as well as just the desktop PC. Banks are all heavy users of Linux. A lot of it on services used across the internet, like Google, Amazon, at home in things like televisions these days, mobile phones. We've had people do things like wire the speedometer data into their music system. So as they pass a certain speed, it starts playing Wide of the Valkyries to remind them to slow down. Because you can actually tinker with all this stuff, it gives you an enormous power to customise it to your own taste.
What someone else put in might benefit thousands and thousands of other people. And by having that collaboration and having, people get their say and other people contribute to the code, you can get more valuable software. You're not just getting what one person wants with the software.
For leaders in an online world, the critical thing is not to feel threatened. I think it is about letting go. It's a tricky thing being a kind of a leader of a herd of cats.
If 30,000 people came over and said, "You should do this," who feels a bit harsh to him, but he says he supports it and he thinks it's a great idea.
You hope that it's going to be helpful and not go the other way, and I'm sure everyone's working for it to make a good partnership and run as smoothly as possible.
I think with team selection, ultimately it will come down to the forums.
But you've got to be very brave, haven't you, to accept the decisions.
You're going into something that's not got any real history or evidence to back anything up, so you're stepping into a little bit of the unknown, and we might have to make mistakes to go forward because it's so new.
Meg Whitman, who used to run eBay, said it was like leading a town meeting. It basically means that when you're leading anything, it becomes a political job, because what you're dealing with is not people you can instruct and tell. You have to persuade and win their support.
It's a real art, and it's a different kind of art than what we think of as management in the classic sense.
The people who make the transition best from being, what I would call manager to leader, are the people who are comfortable with letting go.
It would be really interesting to get Gordon Brown and ask him whether he'd be prepared for his job to be changed in the way that Liam Daish's job has been changed. Would he be happy really to have that level of participation? They talk about evidence-based policies and they talk about being the servants and not the masters, but would he really like to have people driving his decisions in that sort of way?
Well, I'm not sure about that. This is a football club. I'm not talking about, the world or the country and all that, the nation. I don't know if that would work. It could get a little bit of anarchy. But no, this is new. It's interesting, and we're giving it a good crack.
Ultimately, I assume, I don't know him obviously, but I assume that the real proof is in the pudding, right? If he wins more games, he's going to be happy to be in the situation he's in than if he loses a lot of games. And so it's the kind of record that will play out over time. We'll see how that football team does.
For the
you pick the team this morning?
I did 4-4-2. Kept it nice and simple.
I always pick George Purcell anyway. Did you pick Chris McPhee to play right back?
Yes.
So did I.
Well, free kick-off. This is possibly the biggest game in Ebbsfleet United's history. So much riding on it. A trip to Wembley beckons. Well, Ebbsfleet lining up. Barrett collects, and he's gone over the top to Chucky. Chucky will get to this. A cross put in. John Akindi looking for it, but not quite getting to it.
More and more people, either because they grew up in that world or because they've learned about this world, take it for granted that they can get involved, that they can interact. Take it for granted that there is significant wisdom and value in interacting with other people in groups that don't have all the kind of classic infrastructure, but are nevertheless tremendously important and engaging.
Referee blows his whistle. Tim, we got to be happy.
Still got that 3-1 aggregate lead. We've looked like we might create chances in this half. We've weathered the storm that they...
So you reckon any subs?
For us, no, it's only...
I consider Chucky coming on 20 minutes, then we can get on the computer and tell Liam to bring on the sub.
Well, these players, these Ebbsfleet players, are 45 minutes from their destiny. Chris McPhee clears.
If Ebbsfleet turn into a real success, then that's evidence that a participative decision-making process can lead to good results.
That's a real vital point for the game so far. Half an hour to glory for Ebbsfleet United. Aldershot really looking dangerous again. A little dink through. He is through, and it's a goal to Aldershot Town. The linesman didn't give offside.
At the end of the day, communities don't work unless decisions get taken.
Ebbsfleet United there were playing.
And so the communes in the 1960s and 70s in America, thousands of communes failed, largely because they couldn't take decisions.
You can imagine a team of surgeons being preferable, and a team of trained surgeons being preferable to 35,000 people trying to move the knife.
He's able to pick his spot, and that's Aldershot 1-0 up.
It's not a recipe that's going to work in every single situation.
Well, that's ramped the nerves up a significant amount. Tension really is a factor now. Not too sure how Liam does reassuring and comforting, but he'll certainly be geeing up his men for these last 8 minutes plus added time to go, unless we see, of course, extra time, which would be the case if Aldershot managed to score. Paul McCartney has this covered though, plays the ball back to Lars Cronin, who was forced to clear.
Nail-biting moments these for Ebbsfleet.
I think the problem is the team, and we're all so close to Wembley, but to have it snatched away now would just be horrible.
Keep the ball, Free! Keep the ball! He was there with the ball a minute ago. Come on, get on with it!
And then George Purcell's on top of it. He's in the corner. He plays it inside. Can it finish in style? He's Stacey Long. And it's in the net. I don't know who's scored, but I don't care. It's in the net, and the Fleet are going to Wembley. 1-1, and the Fleet on aggregate lead. 4-1. The Fleet are going to Wembley.
It's the massive advantage of just opening yourself up.
What a roar!
We are taking a team to Wembley. Well, it hasn't sunk in yet. Someone said back in August, you're going to be picking a team that plays out Wembley. I've not believed it. So amazing.
The desire to collaborate with other people and get that sense of what I'm doing is useful and meaningful has always been there, but basically the barriers to entry have gone down rapidly over the last 10 years. And so now you're starting to see it really become the mainstream.
I picked most of that team, and we are going to Wembley. And you feel that's been achieved in part on your selection.
The proponents of participative government could say, here is evidence that you know, the wisdom of the crowds is right, and that listening to everybody is a good idea, and that instead of doing phony consultations, you should probably do real consultations about issues that people really care about.
The major change is that, you know, institutions are now threatened in terms of their power relations by groups of individuals who can actually organise to change things.